This is a presentation of the Sports Source Digital Network, presented by Hearthside Bank.
We are on the eve of Tennessee kicking off the 2025 football season against Syracuse down in Atlanta tomorrow. I'm John Pennington on the Sports Source Digital Network, joined by John Wilkerson, who people have been hearing your voice connected with Tennessee football for 30-some-odd years. John, welcome.
Appreciate it, John. It's always exciting when it is time to see what's what.
Yeah, I mean, and this is such a, we'll talk about this. John and I are going to be hosting a live show tomorrow. We'll be with you Saturdays this fall to break down the games, give you a good pregame every single Saturday. Marlon Walls, Ollie Lane, a ton of other people are going to be with us. But we're going to be there on WATE tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. And one of the things I'm sure we'll ask all the other people as well is, I can't remember a season where there is so much unknown. Now, we know the defense is going to be pretty good, but you take Jermod McCoy out of it. Is the secondary going to have any hiccups? But boy, on offense, there's talk of tweaks made to Josh Heupel's offense. You got a brand new quarterback from another level. You don't know what that's going to be. I could tell you, wow, his numbers look great. Imagine when you put better guys around him, we'll have more touchdowns. I can also say, he threw 24 interceptions in 2 years against bad competition. What's going to happen now? I don't know. You got an offensive line with a lot of new faces. Your receiving core is new. I can't remember an opener really. Maybe Josh Heupel's first year when we hadn't seen the veer and shoot in orange. Mm-hmm. But this one is really going to be an eye opener, and it's going to be fun because you're not going up against Hackensack State. You're going to get a real vision of, all right, here's the pluses, here's the minuses.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I do think that's the first one that comes to mind. What team are there more questions with? Because it was a complete unknown year one for Josh Heupel, and now who would have thought that year 5 would have a similar number of questions, but also to a different degree, because you're coming off of a college football playoff appearance, but you are replacing 80% of your starters on the offensive line. Yeah. Each team, I think it's really interesting, has a quarterback that's going to start that wasn't there for spring practice. Both of them. So I do think that when you look, it's fair to expect significant, I wouldn't say progress, but in terms of a performance, because Tennessee has won 30 games in the last 3 years. It's the best stretch Tennessee's had in about 25 years. And so the expectation is this is to show the fan base as well as the rest of the country in the Southeastern Conference that you've got staying power. Because to lose what you have lost on offense, including the SEC Offensive Player of the Year and your starting quarterback from last year, I mean, this is where you can show that it is indeed a program, and you can be dealt a blow here or there. You can go through some adversity and still have a plan and the ability to bring it together and succeed.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, if you go back 5 years ago, no one is expecting to go through this. I had somebody send me an email. It was like, you shouldn't have any kind of rebuild in year 5. It's like, well, maybe you could say that in the olden times, but in the world of the transfer portal, you can't say that anymore. You could win 3 national titles in a row and then watch your whole starting 22 walk off because somebody was willing to pay them more. So you could have a rebuild anytime you turn around. But I also think if you had asked me 5 years ago, okay, going into his 5th season opener, we'll be saying this. Once again, Josh Heupel's team will be leaning on its defense. I don't think anyone would have guessed that because you hired the guy for his offense, and his offense those first couple of years was dazzling. Then the offense dipped a little bit, and you've been leaning on the defense. And I credit to Josh Heupel, there are a lot of offensive coaches who aren't willing and just can't get around the fact that, okay, I want to go for it on 4th and 1 at my 42, but I got to lean to the defense. He's done that, and I think that's a real, flower in his cap or check on his mark or whatever you call it. But the leaning on the defense, it's funny that we're going into a Josh Heupel season and we're thinking, yeah, I'm not worried about defense. Defense will be okay.
Well, it certainly was the difference in you becoming a college football playoff team for the first time last year. So I do think that it is the strength. And even though you lose a first-round draft pick as well as several veterans from that defensive front, you're really in good shape there. And I also like what Tennessee has at linebacker. And as you highlighted, the secondary is it's fair to question exactly what you've got. And at the same time, I think it's enough. I think they can hold her down until Javon McCoy is ready to get back out on the field. That's the personnel they have. I think it's something to point to what we've seen from Josh Heupel is how choosy he's been out of the portal the last 2 years. I mean, for some, it's kind of like get 2 grocery carts. We're going to shop and take everything we can off the shelves. But he's been very, very measured in what? Now, he wasn't expecting to go get a quarterback, realized he needed one, so that was probably the biggest wild card from last year to this year. But I think he's always liked the players that they brought in as true freshmen, and then they've also added some early pieces from either the junior college ranks or early transfers that would say, yes, I'm coming. But I just think that he really likes what they've brought to Tennessee, and he really likes what he's got in terms of a foundation for this roster.
Syracuse, not the program it was when Tennessee faced them to kick off the 98 season. I mean, this was a once proud, I mean, it's the alma mater of Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, and Donovan McNabb, of course, in the 90s. They've fallen a little bit. There's no question. They're not nationally relevant in terms of competing for championships, national championships. Got to 10 wins last year with Fran Brown, and then they've lost. It's almost identical on offense what they've lost, and you would think that's advantage Tennessee because you've recruited better than Syracuse. At the same time, Brown, excellent coach, and he's familiar with Tennessee and their system from his years on the Georgia defensive staff. Your thoughts on Syracuse as an opening opponent? Just would you rather, in a year like this, play one of those scrimmage games where it's New Mexico A&I, or are you kind of glad? I hate those games. Regardless, even when you need them, I hate those games. So I'm happy that it's Syracuse. I mean, if it were me, line up Notre Dame, bring in the big boys. This ain't that, but it beats UT Martin. Where are you on that? Are you like, this would be an okay UT Martin year, John?
Well, I like the fact that what Tennessee has can compete with whatever they would be up against. So I do like it's a neutral site game. It's one in Atlanta, just like they were in Charlotte last year. I kind of think that even though wholesale changes for Syracuse, just like we've seen in some aspects for Tennessee, you don't know what you're going to get. But they won 10 games last year, and if they don't stub their toe in a couple of games against Stanford, Boston College, they could easily have been in the ACC title game. But again, all of them count. So as you mentioned, Fran Brown is trying to put his stamp on that program. And without a doubt, I think that they showed that they could throw the football, and they were the best at doing it. They've struggled to run. And if they can't run tomorrow, then I do think that if Tennessee can do what it has to do this year better than it did last year, and that's actually get to the quarterback, it's going to be tough for Syracuse to hang in there, because I think if Tennessee shows that they can't run the football and can just tee off on the quarterback, it could be open season, because I do think that Tennessee will be able to put pressure on the other side. Now, you do have a quarterback that took meaningful snaps in the national semifinal, so I do think that there's confidence there, but they not only lost every member on their offensive line, they lost their best returning receiver among other contributors on that offense.
4 of their top 6 receivers, I believe. So when you look it up, it's almost the exact, it meshes with Tennessee almost exactly. And of course, Steve Angeli was out there, and Tennessee said, well, we'll go with Joey Aguilar. What, are we going to find out, oh, that's why they went with Joey Aguilar? Or are you going to find out Steve Angeli's got a little something special because he knows they didn't look at him? We'll see. I was trying to think, Fran Brown, probably the first Fran Tennessee has faced since Fran Kersey.
Yes.
Now, you don't quite go back that far with covering the Vols, but talk to me about these many years of covering Tennessee football. Your duties are kind of changing this year. Where can people hear you on WNML on game day? And of course, duties changing because I've somehow hooked you and lured you into the Sports Source Saturday kickoff, which again, we'll be doing that tomorrow. And I said WATE. We'll be doing it 11 a.m. on WATE, but you can also, if you're watching us in the Mid-State right now, you can see this 10 a.m. tomorrow live on CW Nashville. So we'll be in both those spots. In terms of where folks can hear you, what are you doing this year? What's your post-game activity show? And then also, just you are a unabashed Vol fan. You've been a part of it. How excited are you on the night of these openers?
Always exciting. It is a little different because I think that the tone has changed just a little bit. We had this conversation earlier with Mike Stoll, with something that folks can find in some previous
right here
conversations.
On the Sports Source Digital Network. Yeah.
That's right. So, but yeah, it's not 100% the same, but it's still exciting because, again, as you highlighted the opening of this conversation, there are so many unknowns. And so it's always the chance to see what the next chapter is. This is 129 in terms of Tennessee and football seasons. So that in itself is amazing. They've got other incredible milestones that'll be recognized this season, but it's to see. I mean, again, for everything that we've had beaten over our heads about how good Diego Pavia is going to be, as he will reign supreme since he had Vanderbilt winning a bowl game,
right.
And then we know that the state is going to run through Nashville. I mean, Joey Aguilar has very similar, if not identical, career numbers last 2 years, touchdowns thrown. Identical, exact same number, and yet Tennessee routinely showed up at number 14, 15 in the SEC rankings in terms of their quarterback room. So I do believe, and this is one of the things that has me excited, the potential's there for it to click for Joey Aguilar because he had a really good first season at Appalachian State. Second season, that's when the turnovers really ramped up, but I also think that he was asked to do more. If they were going to succeed, it was on his shoulders. If they were going to try and hang in there with Clemson, he had to make something happen. And we all know that when you've got that kind of pressure that builds from within, that I've got to find a way to fit it in this window, that's when turnovers happen. So I think he'll have the chance to be relaxed. Love the fact that he's had the chance to get to know and work in with a number of veterans that also started somewhere else other than Knoxville that I think are going to perhaps give him a calm, a cool demeanor that is going to benefit Tennessee when all's said and done. But I do think that Tennessee's defense against Syracuse's offense and all the newcomers for that orange in this game is probably going to be the difference versus what Tennessee hopes to accomplish against the Syracuse defense.
Yes. And the final scoreboard will be you and VFLs, I know.
Troy Fleming and Kevin Simon. And I didn't answer your question.
No, that's all right.
The only pregame thing that I've got going
I threw
on
you a 5-part question.
is here with you. And so I'm excited about that. And then at the same time, it's going to be a true postgame show because even though you've had football finals for years and years, if it was a 7 o'clock or later start, then they ran football finals before the game. This is going to be a true post-game show. So after every show, it's going to be essentially in the same slot we've been in because as the Vol Network post-game show is not going to be near as long as it was in the past, we're essentially going to borrow their last show's title. We will be the final scoreboard show. We will be on as soon as the Vol Network concludes with a noon start. It's going to be us, then football finals, and then it'll be football digest after that as we carry into the night hours and conclude our game day, all day coverage. But for us, whether it's an 8 o'clock kick or a noon kick, me, Troy, and Kevin are all going to always be first thing up after the Vol Network coverage concludes.
Excellent. 99.1 The Sports Animal, and that is the website, is where people can stream it if you're not watching it. If you want to stream that show after the games, that is, what is your website? 991 Sports Animal.
TheSportsAnimal.com.
TheSportsAnimal.com. Look that up. John Wilkerson, look forward to covering Tennessee football this year. Look forward to seeing you in the morning for the Sports Source Saturday kickoff. It will be me and John, Ollie Lane, Marlon Walls, and Will Overstreet coming in because he started his career against Syracuse. So we'll talk a little bit about his first opener was against Syracuse, and we'll also talk about where those programs have gone over the years and where he thinks Tennessee is right now. We'll also have Ryan Callahan, Paige Dower, Vince Ferrara, Tyler Ivins, and Will West will be on that show as well. We got everything from over-unders to the scouting report to game predictions from 10 different people. So if you want one mess of picks in one spot, be sure to catch the end of the live lead-in here in Knoxville, the live lead-in to Tennessee-Syracuse tomorrow on WATE for the Sports Source Saturday kickoff. John, thank you, and I'll see you in the morning. We'll see you, hopefully, in the morning. And if you're watching this 6 months from now on YouTube, I hope you saw us that morning. See you next time on the Sports Source Digital Network.